Hey Revolt, it's Amrit, and here with me in Studio B is Trent Copeland, all-star legal analyst for CNN, HLN, many other media outlets. He's going to give us the legal lowdown on today's court developments. Trent, thank you for being here.
Hey, my pleasure.
So it's a busy day for LA's downtown courtrooms. Both CeeLo Green and Chris Brown had hearings today. Why don't we start with CeeLo? So the singer and The Voice judge is accused of slipping ecstasy to a woman. He's pleaded not guilty to one count of furnishing an illicit substance to a woman. So what happened in today's hearing?
Well, look, first of all, CeeLo is facing charges of furnishing ecstasy to this woman. He got off on the charge of sexual assault because originally the way this case started was the prosecutors alleged that CeeLo Green had sexually assaulted this woman after he gave her ecstasy. The prosecutors decided they couldn't prove that case. But what they think they can prove is that he impermissibly gave her ecstasy, either slipped it in her drink, either gave it to her in her food, somehow or another. So he's facing that charge at this point. And so what the prosecutors want to do is they want to bring that charge and they want to have a full hearing. They want to bring in witnesses, they want to bring in people to testify to support that claim. And so what happened today was the judge put that over until January. So expect that there's going to be a long, protracted hearing in January. Well, he will have to see that witness up close telling him whether or not he's violated those charges.
Sounds like it's going to be a big media event. Yeah. Now, this is also hinging on an interesting bit of evidence.
Yeah,
right?
it's going to turn essentially, Amrit, on whether or not this secret recording that's alleged to exist, where CeeLo admitted to this woman that he'd given her that drug. So look, if that happens, I think CeeLo is going to have a really tough time defending himself if there's a recording in his voice where he says, look, I did it. I'm sorry. I apologize for it. If that exists, then that's going to be a major problem for him. But at this point, we don't know whether that exists. That's an allegation, so we'll have to wait and see in January.
Sure, and you say it's a secret recording, so what does that do to the admissibility of the evidence?
Well, remember, if it's a recording, if it's in his voice, he's an opponent to this lawsuit. That's called an admission by a party opponent. It's going to be admissible against him in court as an exception to the hearsay rule. So it comes in.
Okay, so why don't we move on to Chris Brown then? Chris is, in 2009, he was on probation for attacking his then girlfriend, Rihanna. And just recently, as we well know, he has allegedly punched a fan in the face in Washington, D.C. So what happened in today's hearing?
More problems for Chris Brown. But what the judge said is, listen, I'm going to give you another shot at this. I'm going to put you on probation. You're going to perform community service. I'm going to give you community service guidelines. It's going to be 24 hours a week, so you're going to have to go perform community service. And then I'm going to wait to hear about the details of what happened in this punching incident in Washington, D.C. And I believe that if the judge finds that that's a valid claim, that Chris Brown and his bodyguard did in fact assault this guy in Washington, D.C., just feet from the White House, right, then I think they're going to call that a probation violation, and Chris will be back in court, which he will be in December, back in court to answer to that charge. So I think he's not out of the woods yet. He's facing probation. He's going to rehab. He's going to do community service. All the judge ordered that all today, but the judge wants him to come back once he has more details about what happened in the Washington, D.C. incident.
And we know that Chris is in anger management. Does that help his case in any event?
Well, look, I think if I'm his lawyer, and Mark Garagos, who is his lawyer, I'm friends with him, I know Mark. What Mark is doing is he's leveraging this anger management. He's saying to the judge, hey, look, I'm using self-help. I'm trying to get help for myself. All of these issues stem from some anger issues that I have, deep-seated anger problems. So you put him in rehab, you get him anger management, you come back to the court, maybe the court has a more sympathetic view because he's trying to get help.
And real quick, Trent, are we looking at jail time for Chris in either the D.C. or L.A. instances?
Well, again, it all depends. In Washington, D.C., he is not a first-time offender. The judge there could look at this case pretty harshly, give him jail time. If he gets jail time there, it's probably even more likely he gets jail time here for violating his probation.
That's great. That's a great breakdown for us, Trent. Thank you so much. We're going to have much more on those cases as they come up. Revolt.tv is doing a great job of covering them. Trent, you're welcome back anytime to help us talk through those issues.
Thanks,
Stay in tune and keep it right here for much more news on the hour, every hour. You're watching Revolt.